Folks, we are holy shit. We are live. Um, if if I look more gray, it has nothing to do with. It has everything to do with. Yeah, yeah. We're having one of those issues right now. The pixie is in Pixieland. We're trying to bring her out of the alternate universe into this universe, but we're currently failing. We don't have the skill rolls. I don't know. I don't know.
She's having the
Uh,
same problems, but when I'm late, she's having the same problems I have when I'm late, except it's just magnified a little bit. It looks to me like
It's the Tom Wham distortion field.
yes.
The problem with the Tom Wham distortion field is that there's so much awesomeness actually in Tom that it just exudes and it causes technological mishaps. That or snits. There's just an abundance of snits that have gotten loose. So
it's the revenge of the snits. Oh no,
gotta,
wait, no, it's revenge.
If you have a pacemaker, it might short out. Be very careful about this show because that's how much.
I'm afraid the
electrons
camera
are
cannot
flowing.
handle the stripes on Tom's overalls.
No,
that's my biggest concern. Is that many parallel lines are just going to mess it all up. And
But the thing is, we actually had the Pixie and Tom logged in, but no camera.
We had audio, but no video. And
right.
as one of my other co-hosts said, Kim's OnlyFans seems to work okay, but yet, like, I'm just
I don't
not
understand.
sure why. I just
he has
don't
no problem with her OnlyFans every week. No problem at all. And
I mean, it's more like Only Hands. It's like a hand model show, but it works.
I'm not paying $30 a month for nothing. I mean, she knows what to do on the OnlyFans.
I mean, my OnlyFans Big Toe show just doesn't really haul in the filthy money like I was hoping.
So here we are going to make an official warning for anybody who is ever going to appear in this show. Mm-hmm. iPads may cause an issue.
Yes,
okay? I'm just throwing it out there. Never experienced myself, but iPads may cause un pequeño ischiato or something like that.
Bueno.
Just
no clue.
Just a warning.
Well, we're gonna talk. So tonight we're gonna talk Kickstarters, and we're not just gonna talk moose games and moosey stuff. We're gonna talk. This has been a really interesting last week for Kickstarter.
Holy crap! Like everybody decided to do their Kickstarters this week, and the numbers are staggering. And there's two that everybody's been like waiting to drop, and then there's a third that launched, I believe, today, which is the RPG version of Settlers of Mars, the Ken Hite project that's based on the amazing board game.
I haven't even looked at that yet.
It looks pretty sexy, but the $1 million gorilla in the room is of course $1.2 million gorilla in the room is the new Shadow Dark Kickstarter for the Western lands that launched, and then not to be outdone, Troll Lord has finally kicked off Castle Zygi. And it's sitting at 270,000. Is that what I?
Yeah, it's hit $250,000 or over $250,000. I thought it was at 300. Didn't it just hit 300? Let me check.
I don't know.
Where's the Kickstarter?
I can only balance and juggle so many Kickstarters.
Hold on, I'm trying to get it. Oh no, wait! It's not on Kickstarter. It's on BackerKit.
It's on BackerKit.
It's at 315,000. That's pretty. That's not shabby.
Oh, fantastic! Good for them.
That's good. And these are all, by the way, these are in their first few days. And so if you look at Kickstarter math and if you pay attention to Kickstarters, you can pretty much double what they have after day 30 and say you're going to get pretty close to what they're going to do. So we're talking what looks like two very successful OSR themed Kickstarters. I know some people don't consider Shadow Dark OSR, but it's close enough in the ballpark that
Shadow Dark is I consider it OSR if you would consider I don't know, one of those Model T kits. Classic, right? Looks like a Model T. But it's got like a brand new engine in it. Oh, I heard something. I heard something. We're going to be Sam's camera?
Yes, it's Mystery and Void.
I got two of them in. I don't know which one is the. I'm assuming, but I don't hear anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're getting there. Now, I do think it's quite enjoyable when you look to see how the Shadow Dark Kickstarter is doing. I believe it's at 12,648% funded. Not too shabby, all things considered. I think that's certainly a step in the right direction.
Yeah, for 24 hours, that's good. It's like I said, it's good. That's pretty amazing that you have the two Kickstarters, and there's going to be some overlap there. Not a ton of overlap. There's overlap there, and so it's a tough choice. These aren't $5 to get in Kickstarters. These are both substantial amounts of money you have to pay, but in both cases, I think you're getting your money's worth.
Oh, hands down, no question.
Yeah, so it's gonna be very interesting. We kind of, I don't think any of us are surprised by Shadow Dark. Jim, Eric,
no,
we're not surprised.
No,
nobody is surprised at this.
But
if you're surprised by this, you weren't paying attention.
Here's something to point out, though. It's neither one is 5e, right? Oh
no,
I see something.
Oh, jinx it. Don't jinx it.
I see a dresser. This is like a mystery. This is like a murder mystery, maybe.
Oh, there we go.
Yes, it's definitely a Okay, so Miss Marple did it in the living room with the television.
Wait, no, Miss Marple's a detective, Jim. She's.
Oh my God!
What is we have here?
It's Pixie Cam.
It's the Pixie.
Oh my God! It's working. It's working.
Wait, have we heard sound yet?
Wait, I'm not sure she can hear us through the ether.
Have we heard
Earth
sound?
No! Switch it back. Switch it back.
It was.
There we go.
Oh.
Okay.
She's going through the candles.
Are we gonna get picture of no sound or sound of no picture?
I don't know.
She can call it in.
All right, getting here.
So many messages are flying right now.
Yes. Ba-ding, ba-ding, ba-ding.
That's right.
Ah.
Apparently we are I'm perceiving a living room. Perhaps somewhere in Lake. Yes! We're being teased.
I'm being teased.
The other way. Flick it back.
Flick it back. Calling Mike.
Who's calling? Oh no. Extended warranty.
Okay. We have shame. So much shame right now.
Extended warranty's expired apparently. Huh. Interesting. I gotta look into that.
I thought it was Kim. It's like I got my speed dial.
By the way, I still got most of my stuff from my office in storage, but I managed to pull a couple of things. I managed to pull that.
That's right.
I love that.
The Lotomist is watching.
Oh, there we go. Oh, we got.
I can see Kim.
Something going on.
I could see Kim. Folks, I hope this is as amusing for you as it is for us.
You watch. This Bill Barsh in about a couple weeks is going to do the same thing. You watch. He'll be clicking all over. No, I'm just kidding. Bill won't.
It's not a tumor.
Oh, are we getting our toys out? I didn't know this is toy time.
It's Tom Wham. It's got to be ToyCon.
Oh, I've got some good stuff up here. I can pull out.
Look, it's even got wings. And it's not a tampon, and it's got wings. Sorry, I had to make that joke. Been dying to make that joke. Hey, wait, you suffocated it.
I know the rust monster is suffocate. Well, should I pull it out of the protective barrier or should I let it breathe?
Out of the battery. Oh, you bastard. We were gonna zoom in on you.
Oh, please no. I want to show. So I got some cool stuff here.
Well, everybody who's
item from my personal collection. I've had them displayed for a while. Oh wait, they're back. Never mind. All right.
They're back, but we got no sound.
Back, but no sound. So we got video and no sound. Sound with no video.
Right,
Jim's on the board. Oh, there's Jim's there.
Folks, there is nothing that comes close to this type of entertainment. And by the way, as a side note, this is already proving to be a live stream where I probably will not be pulling short from.
Oh! Yes.
I can see.
Oh,
can you hear me?
Hallelujah.
Oh my God!
It's gotta be Toy-Con.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Look, he's even got wings.
Can you guys hear me?
And it's not a tan.
You can hear us too. Yes.
Sorry, I had to make that joke.
We can hear you.
Can you guys
to make that joke.
can you guys hear me?
Hey, wait.
Yes.
Suffocated it.
I know the
Nodding.
rest monster is suffocate. Well,
Why- whoa.
Should I pull it out of the protective?
Why we
barrier,
have such
or should
a-
I-
Close the YouTube window.
Yeah, we have to close the YouTube window.
Oh, you bastard.
Oh,
Zoom in on you.
my God. All right.
Tech support Belonimus says close the YouTube window.
I wanna
So
show
why is
some-
this
I got
not
some-
working?
Well, everybody who's here's
Oh,
item for personal
God.
collection. And this
Oh my
one for
God.
wall. Oh wait, no, they're back. Never mind.
Ah.
Then
Can you
you
guys
called
hear
this.
me?
the back, but we got no sound.
We can
Oh,
hear
God,
you.
yes.
Back.
One minute.
So
Hold
we got
on.
video and no sound.
All right.
Sound with no
If you
video.
like the work on a pad,
Jim's on the board. There's Jim's there.
Hello.
Okay. Close the YouTube window.
Sorry.
I think we're good.
We may have overtime. Well, there may be overtime.
And we no longer have you watching a prior episode of the show.
You can actually hear us?
Yes. I want to be paid.
Wow.
We're going to be paid for overtime tonight.
I'm sorry.
Man, we're getting combat pay tonight.
I'm very challenged. I tried to explain this to you guys.
No. Listen, some things you have to experience to understand. And oh my God. Listen, I was at a wake earlier today, and I haven't laughed so hard right now in a long fucking time. So thank you. It's all Tom's fault.
I'm
No,
glad you
Ken's
could at
fault.
least entertain for a while, so there you go.
Thank you. It's all good. Oh,
Sorry.
I'm going to risk it all by saying we can sort of hear you. You sort of could turn your mic up, but don't screw anything up.
no. I can handle it at my end.
Oh, you
Hold
can
on.
handle it on your end. Okay, great.
I can turn her up.
So, how you doing? Hey, look, it's TSR employee number 8. This is pretty exciting stuff. And now we can't hear you.
No, we can't hear him.
It's okay.
I'm sorry, Ken. We can't hear you now. Hold on.
We still can't hear you.
Whatever it was before, do whatever you're doing.
Undo the thing you just did.
Yeah. Do that thing that you do.
There's lots of hands waving. I feel like this is an episode of Harry Potter that didn't get filmed. We still can't hear you. It's good to see that Tom is alive. Let's start with that. So there's Tom, and
Tom's
Tom's doing
good.
pretty good. And,
It's great.
and see, like I'll just pretend to be Tom, right? So I'll do Tom's voice. So I was wondering if you like trains. As Tom passes out
Do
to
not
take
be-
a nap.
Do not besmirch the legend of Tom.
Yes, blink once for yes, twice for no.
So I don't have a well. Okay, we're waiting for that. I don't have a lot of Tom Wham memorabilia, but I do
Okay,
have
so
my
go
original
to
box.
sound.
I have my original
Oh,
Big
God.
Outer Space box set. I have two. I have an unpunched and a punched one. I have this, which is very, very dear to me. This was bought at Gen Con 2008.
All right, hold on. Let me embiggen you.
Wow, an emperor's treasure.
So friend of mine, Al Silcock, bought this at Gen Con 2008. When he came to the United States for our first North Texas, he brought it. He gave it to Doug. I told Doug that was my favorite, one of my favorite games ever growing up. Doug gave it to me. It's all Tom's notes on one of my favorite games, which is I played this many, many times with my brothers. And it's just a whole box full of goodies. The original Dragon magazine it was in is in here. There's charts and handwritten Tom Wham stuff. There's counters. I mean, it's amazing. So I don't have a lot of Tom Wham goodies, but those two of my favorites. So I played Search for the Emperor's Treasure and Awful Green Things many times in high school. And beyond.
I'm like a lot of people. So I started with Awful Green Things, and I can't even tell you, like, I almost passed out when issue 40 of Dragon came out, and you could take everybody outside. Like, I couldn't even conceive
outside the Zuntar. Yes. Oh yeah, that was
right.
awesome.
And Snit Smashing, Snit's Revenge, came to those a little later. Search for the Emperor's Treasure. I'm like you, Mike. That was like one of the greatest things I've ever played.
We played it on the original Darlene map that came in the issue. We pulled it out, and I always remember because my younger brother, who's 7 years younger than me, when I was 17, he was 10. That was our bonding game. We would play that game all the time. That was our bonding game. And I would never win. He won almost every time. He's a smart kid. I tried, but we played that game. That was a big part of my childhood, was playing that game with my youngest brother.
And I made the joke, Tom was the 8th person hired at TSR. Like, that's how far back Tom goes with TSR. And before tonight, one of the things I did earlier is I actually read the 4-page article on Tom in Dragon Magazine number 40 tonight.
Oh wow. And
Tom came to TSR through a fairly interesting journey. One of the things that Tom is known for. I love this, so I can talk about Tom and he can hear us, but like, I'll just embellish.
You won't get interrupted. No, you won't.
This is great. Yeah,
a mighty man is he. He wanders the face of the earth, and much like an apex predator, he's an apex game designer. Although he does have that, like, it's not quite done yet. There's always a little more fiddling with things. So. Interestingly, I know that he's been working on Ookland, and one of the things I read in the Dragon Magazine article from, when was that, 1981, 82, is that, oh, wait, he was still fiddling with Ookland back then. So this gives me hope that, in fact, Ookland will never be finished, which is okay. I'm all right with this. And then, lo and behold, Tom's a trained nerd. I'm a trained nerd. Like, the best part of this is that I can tell train jokes, and Tom will be the only person to ever see this video that will get them, and I won't make them. But I feel like we could. The hand is scaring me, Kim. The hand is scaring me. So
here's what's interesting. I wanted to think that was interesting. So you're getting Dragon Magazine back in the day, and every 5 or 6 issues, there's a Tom Wham game. And I remember even thinking this 40 years ago. Who is this creative that they could come up with a brand new game every few months? I mean, I don't think if you'd given me 40 years, I could have come up with a board game yet. If 40 years ago, you told me have one ready by 2025, I don't think it would still be ready. And this man he's just pumping them out, man. He is just putting them like bricks. Build it like bricks, man.
I think that's the appeal of Tom's games, right? So we'll speak as if he can only hear us and he can't actually talk back to us.
Oh, that would be accurate.
I think that Tom's games. Oh, good. Tom's using sign language now, so this is good, right? So I expect a lot of interpretive dance next. This will be good.
This is going to be awesome.
But even the games that you're like, that are not at the forefront, like Search for the Emperor's Treasure, Awful Green Things, It's Revenge, Dragon Lairds. Good. Tom's lending technical support now, so this is good. I expect a Bolotomus to come flying across the screen. The thing is that all of these just demonstrate Tom's creativity. Oh, look, it's a Sabertooth. Now we're going to be
playing. Hold on.
He's going to show us the Most Quest game by pictures. This is awesome.
Excellent. And there's the woolly mammoth.
Oh, and there's the moose.
And there's a moose. There's a confused moose. It's a snoozy moose, but it's a good moose. And then there's just a moose. Yes.
Yeah, he's
Yes, that's excellent.
That was
A
pensive
pensive
looking
moose. This is a pensive moose. This is good.
What is this? Ooh.
A confused moose in need of tech support.
Maybe
That's
angry.
a great start. That's excellent. We have a wavery horned moose. We're randomly dealing up mooses now, so this is good.
So we're building up to tell you there is a Kickstarter right now for Moose Quest, and this is
a Kickstarter for Moose Quest, which is in theory why they're on the show tonight. Yes, this is the game.
I can fix
Here's
that.
the great
Hold on.
part.
There we go.
It's funded. It is funded. So when you back this Moose Quest game, look how cool it is. First of all, you can put that in your car and carry that around with you. Look at that.
My God, it has flaps. It has flaps and magnets.
So
it exists.
And it exploded.
It's proof of concept
now.
right there. They have proof of concept right there. It's done. It's finished. So you're getting a Moose Quest game if you back the Moose Quest Kickstarter, because there it is right there.
Right. And there's a special tier where if you were if you were 30 of the first 30 people who did a moose mom. There's no moms, no herd. There's special dice. They have moose on them. That's very sexy.
Moose is.
Moose is a 1. Very lovely. Yes, we see that. And
I
so
like
now
the mooses.
I'm rifling through the cards to find another one, so this is good. So Moose Quest, why should you buy it? It's the best damn game that you'll buy this year, hands down. I love Shadow Dark, but Shadow Dark doesn't hold a candle to Moose Quest. Moose Quest has been in more playtesting for longer than anything Shadow Dark. Look, it's the last woolly mammoth. Yes, he thinks it's a moose. He thinks he's a moose, and he joins your herd. And truthfully, isn't that what we're all doing? We're just a woolly mammoth looking for a herd.
That's what my wife says.
Why should you fund this? Well, it is funded, but why should you back it? It's a great little game. They did a little handcrafted version of this game. It's sold in small numbers, but this is the big times, folks. This is how you actually get Moose Quest in a form that's polished. Tom, quit screwing with the rules. And more than anything else, this is something you can give for Christmas this year. One of the things you can add on is you can add on a case of 6. And I'm going to just spoil it right now. For the holidays, all my immediate in-laws and family are getting a copy of Moose Quest. Because in the nature of these small little games, I don't know when the next print of Moose, I don't know when the next printing is coming around. But right now, it's funding. It's going to publish. We're going to get this sometime later this year. Absolutely what you need to do is jump on board and back this and support this. Because Tom, I don't know if you are aware of this or not, but Tom is not a 24-year-old former lifeguard. Tom is a little bit older than that. And Tom deserves to see some of this success where, frankly, I mean, come on, folks. Look at some of these other projects that you could back. You're not going to back Super Hot Unicorn Patrol. Who cares they fart glitter? Doesn't matter. This is something from somebody you know and you love, and this is a game from somebody that means something to all of us, right? All the people who watch this show, we're old farts, right? We've been doing this for 40 years, and Tom has been there since the very forefront of all of this. Now, Tom could argue with me at this point and say things like stop talking, but he can't because they don't have sound. That would be on Kim's shoulders, which is kind of funny because, you know, I don't know. And you say to yourself, wow. I didn't even know they made hats that match the overalls.
I still love
Tom
you,
is
Kim,
here.
by the way.
Tom is here specifically to help you. Help you understand. The train lifestyle is not for everybody, but for those who can master its power and prowess. The doors are wide open for you.
Who's there? Is Dave there? Or
oh God, I don't know. That's all we need is more flying monkeys.
Maybe, you know, it'd be fun if there's a 24-year-old that could actually fix the video and the
stop. We need a youth. We need a youth.
We need somebody young like my grandson.
We need somebody young.
Tom, I hand my phone to him. Please.
Tom and Pixie. How about you shut the browser and try again? Because you had it working with sound for a minute. So why don't you just restart the whole
now that
show?
we've seen you, we want to hear you.
That's right. Go ahead. Keep talking to me like we can hear you. but it's not going to work.
That's waving goodbye.
Notice that Tom is a
wants to hear you.
seething, smoldering mass of sexuality, but he's keeping it in check for this show, right? He even got his beard groomed. Look at that. There's like waves. He's like got Merle Oberon heat coming off of him, right? He's just, I'm in the corner and I'm scintillating, and I know the ladies love the beard.
Merle Oberon,
Yes,
you just
they do.
dated,
Now
you just
reboot.
dated us horribly.
Close your browser and reboot it. God.
Merle Oberon, you horribly dated us, Jim. Horribly
Dude.
dated us.
I'm so old. It doesn't matter. But okay, so here's why I say this. Quick aside. Merle Oberon's body temperature was not normal. Her regular body temperature was not 98.6. It was closer to 100. And everybody that ever worked across from Merle Oberon said that trying to do a scene with that woman, it was literally like being next to a furnace, and it was the most arousing thing ever. Literally every Hollywood star that ever acted with her was like, "Sweet Christmas, somebody needs to pour ice water in that woman because I can't."
That explains a lot.
Well, sure. I mean, you look at Tom and you're like, "Hello there." He's just
blazed her way through Hollywood. I think she had every star there was back then. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense now. So
yes. So
my goodness, look at I forgot Merle.
So funded day one, right? Now here's the deal. I think let me do a little bit of quick math because I had something interesting that I wanted to point out. We were talking about the Kickstarters earlier. And let me
I hear them.
Don't jinx us, man. Don't jinx us.
I see camera.
Can you hear us?
Oh my God!
Oh, we can hear you.
Oh,
Don't touch anything.
Don't touch anything.
Don't even move.
no touching anything.
Don't touch
move.
anything.
I'm not.
Don't breathe.
They're right here. They're right here. I'm not touching anything.
Okay.
I was
Promise.
employee.
Don't
30.
use your feet to touch either.
Okay.
He has
Let the
something-
masters speak.
Well, maybe
Oh,
only
no.
they can only hear you.
No.
No, we can hear you, Tom.
No.
I
There
was
you go.
employee 13.
I thought you were
Uh-oh.
number 8. In the Dragon article, it said you were number 8. So
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry. Lucky number 13.
Lucky for them.
Dragon Magazine lied to you, Jim. Lied to you.
I'm not surprised.
That
Try that
box,
Kim Mohan.
Mass media fiction.
box you had with Search for the Emperor's Treasure, that was a shipping box that we used to ship Dungeons and Dragons in.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you for that information, Tom. So I don't know if you heard the story, but yeah, I had a friend buy it at Gen Con 2008. He gave it to another friend of mine that I started a convention with. Before he passed away, he gifted it to me because he heard my stories about how that was one of my favorite games growing up. And it's sitting on my shelf now, and I'm so happy to have it. I just serendipity. The funniest thing was when I called my little brother and told him I had the game. And I said, "Yeah, I know you have the game." I said, No, I've got the game here. He said, "Yeah, the game we used to play when I was a kid." I know. I go, "No, I got it." I said, "You got to come." So he blew his mind. So if something happens to me, I think it's going to go to he'll be the next in line to display at his house. But yeah, it's great to own that, and there's just so much. God, there's so many great. Another game I told you another game I really like is Dragon Lords. Jim came to the convention a few years ago, North Texas, and he brought, I think it was a test copy of that. And they played games. Oh my gosh. We didn't have a table set up for that game. He just commandeered a table, commandeered it, and they played Dragon Lords all weekend long at that table. It was great. So I've got a copy of that too. That's an excellent game.
So Tom, why don't you tell us about Moose Quest?
We lost the sound again.
Well, Jim, Moose Quest is about my personal dating life, where I went forward and I tried to find a moose mate and to have some little mooses and, well, find my way to a green pasture.
I don't even sound like Tom.
I'm looking at Merle.
Hold on. I'm gonna Pixie, I'm gonna remove you and add you. So let's see if that makes any difference. Hold on. All right.
No matter what I do in the future, by the way, I
Your technical problems are small.
yeah.
Okay.
I feel good.
Sure. All right. I removed you
I
and
feel
added
good
you.
about
Can you-
Say
myself.
something.
Mike, we know you can. We can always hear you. Hold on. No, we can't hear them.
Okay.
I don't have.
So
I don't
this is what
have
I
a
think we
solution.
should do. Number one,
Drive to Lake Geneva.
why
tonight.
don't you God, why don't you go ahead and register for an account? Close your browser window out, register for the live stream or whatever it is, and then try to come back in. But before you do, use the software and test the settings and see if you can get it to work. And we'll be here. And we'll talk about Moose Quest and you'll come back and we're going to continue to make up weird shit about Tom until you come back.
Yeah, well, we have nothing
He's
else.
a lover, not a fighter.
What
and
else,
a game
what else are we
designer.
doing tonight? So I'm looking at Moose Quest. Moose Quest is 7,600. It has $6,000 goal. It's funded. I am buying a copy right now because I just realized
Eric, kill them out of the stream.
I have not bought
Yeah,
my
one
copy of Moose Quest yet. But if you have played Tom Wham games, like I said, Dragon Lairs is another one. They're fast, they're easy, they're always interesting, and there's always really interesting strategies how to win. It's never the same strategy either. And then I think one of the great things, Jim, about Tom's games is there's so many ways to win, and there's so many things that can happen. And I don't know if you ever played Mertwig's Maze or Search for Treasure. You have a board here,
Yes.
and no two games will ever be the same. It can't, because it's all randomized cards, randomized events, and there are strategies to win, but the same strategy will not work every time. That's what I love about Tom's games. Is that you can find strategies, but they're not always going to make you win.
I think the thing that I would say there's some hallmarks to that. Number one is that Tom's a great game designer.
Absolutely.
You know, Tom is somebody who kicks the tires and percolates on these ideas and spends a lot of effort making the best game possible. They're whimsical, and I think once you've played a Tom Wham game, the whimsy is both in the art, but also in the design. It's an artful approach to game design that I wish more people would embrace.
Because there's strategy involved, but there's always an element of luck in all of Tom's games, and that's what makes it awesome.
Yes.
Is that there's always that element of luck. You can be the best person ever, especially with Treasure, and a 10-year-old can come beat you because that luck.
Eric, why don't you bring the campaign page up so we can look at that and we can talk about that?
It's up.
Yeah. I mean, sorry, sort of scroll down a little
Scroll
bit.
up, scroll down. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. You know, Tom's idea for a game he plants the seed and then it starts sort of percolating along. But like all of Tom's games, there's a long production cycle. And by long, I don't mean like a year or 2 or 3. Tom games are oftentimes measured in decades, or perhaps even almost a mid-century.
Yes.
You know, Ook Quest or Ookland he's been working on Ookland, my understanding is, since the early 70s. And Ookland still isn't quite across the finish line.
Finish line, yeah.
Tom has been a fixture he was a fixture at TSR, he was a fixture at Gen Con. He spent decades volunteering at the Gen Con auction. He was renowned for running Whamathons at Gen Con, where you could show up and play all of his games. At one point, he tried to never run the same game twice during the weekend. So if you booked all your time with Tom, you could literally be playing in everything he'd ever done and do some play testing. I actually have a Tom Wham Whamathon poster from Gen Con from 1997.
Wow.
And it's one of my most prized possessions. So go ahead.
Real quick, I was going to say, you reminded me of something. When I went to Gen Con, the last 2 times I went, 2008, 2009, I got a Tom Wham button that he had because he used to give out buttons. He still give out buttons, or I don't know how often he gave out buttons.
So Tom used to make buttons for the auction, and if you worked at the auction, you got one so we could recognize who the volunteers were. I know he was also making some buttons at one point for a while. Tom is one of the few game designers at TSR to see his creations made into miniatures. I have a full set of all the Snitz. I think I have 2 or 3 sets of the Snitz Revenge miniatures that Grenadier made. I do have, and I've sort of been joking around with it tonight, I do have one of the only 2 surviving pairs, breeding pairs of Bellottomii, stuffed Bellottomii from TSR. And I guess the thing that I would say the most about why you should back this, right? We oftentimes see what's the new. We talk about what the new shiny penny is, and we talked earlier a little bit about the Kickstarters that are going on right now. We'll talk about them more after a bit. Mm-hmm. But this is one of the few things in the last 15 plus years of crowdfunding and so on, where you've got somebody from the old guard who gets to get a taste of that success. A 6-pack, actually, can you go down to the pledge levels? You can get a 6-pack of the game at 30% off the retail price if you back. And I'm dead serious. I backed it, and I bought an extra 6-pack because I know I'm going to give them out. Yeah. I know I'm going to give them out. I might even buy a second because the moose model level.
They're perfect stocking stuffer. Look at that.
They are. And the game is just a little simple box, but it's good fun. When you go on vacation and you look for a game to take with you, I once I was in Alaska and I wanted a card game to play on the cruise, and I ended up paying $27 for a pack of Uno cards because that's how much it costs to get them to Alaska and sell them for. So I still have them because they're the most expensive Uno cards I've ever bought. But this is the kind of game, Moose Quest is the kind of game that you would take to the cabin, that you would take to vacation, mm-hmm. you would take in a card trip. Moose Quest, I'm going to say this, and I debated if I was going to say this tonight or not, right? We're all in the hobby. Most of the people watching this are in the hobby. Most of the people watching this have some semblance of an idea of who Tom Wham is. And the normies, the muggles, whatever the term you want to use for people who don't play games the way we play games, mm-hmm. They have no idea who Tom Wham is. They mm-hmm. couldn't give a shit. But a very simple game about building a herd of moose to get to the green pasture, that's an easy thing to understand. And this is one of the few things that we'll ever talk about on this show where you could play it with your extended family. I have played this game with my mother-in-law. I have played this game. Oh, Moose Mage. I have played this game with my nieces, and one of my nieces loved the game so much that I gave her one of my copies of Moose Quest.
Oh wow!
This is the first Kickstarter for Tom Wham Games, and it's important that it got off to a good start, and it did. It funded in a day. But one of the reasons we really wanted to try to have them on tonight, aside from demonstrating our attempts to fix technical problems from a distance, is we wanted to highlight this. We wanted to highlight what is, hands down, one of the nicest little things you're going to see on crowdfunding this year and in any number of years. So if you haven't backed, take the time to back it. So if you haven't talked about it, talk about it.
Well, one of the reasons that this is happening now is Kim, who games with these guys every Saturday. They go to Culver's
every Friday at Culver's in Lake Geneva.
Friday, yeah. She knows the amount of games that Tom has that he has been working on, like Jim said, for decades and years. And they just need somebody to kind of push across the finish line because there's no reason Tom shouldn't make money off his creations, especially what a creative guy he is, and the amount of money his creations have made for other companies, for TSR, and for the story The Emperor's Treasure. I believe that was submitted to West End Games, and it ended up being published as the best in the Dragon magazine, Best of Dragon. So I don't know what rights Tom kept on that, or if he even kept any. But this is something that Tom and Dave own, and they can make money off of it, and they deserve to make this money. And that's great that Tom is able to pull some of these things out, polish it up, and publish it, because this is something that we should all be able to play anyway. This is a link to the past. It is. And what Jim said is true. This man's a living legend. This is one of the guys who was there. He has artwork in the first Monster Manual. He drew a little tiny snit right in the corner of he has been around that long. He said 13th employee. He deserves to have a little taste of what the game designers now get, and they're million Kickstarters. He's not going to make $1 million, but he deserves to have the recognition and the money from his ideas, because he has great ideas. His ideas are incredible.
And I think, one of the things that you touched on, Mike, that I think is, again, really sort of important about this. So we talked about Awful Green Things from Outer Space and Snit's Revenge. And Tom signed a contract with Steve Jackson Games. And so Steve Jackson Games is the person, as long as they keep in print, they've got the rights to that. Well, every time Tom's ever reached out to them, they just do another printing.
And Awful Green Things, yeah.
And I think Snit's Revenge as well. But it's a bit of a, I wish they wouldn't, because if you look at the versions that they publish, they're pretty lackluster and they're pretty, I'll use the word inexpensive, cheap, but they could do better by Tom.
Yeah.
They certainly could do better by Tom. They could do a Kickstarter for a better version of what they're doing, frankly. And I'm sick and tired of getting the nonstop, God help us. I was one of the people who backed Ogre, and sweet Jesus, if you want to feel, if you're lonely, all you have to do is back a single Steve Jackson Games Kickstarter. The only people who will email you more are Troll Lord.
I gave that away to ShireCon. My Ogre Kickstarter. I was like,
I used mine to prop up.
I still got mine. I've got mine.
I used mine to prop up Buick. So we've obviously had not what we wanted with Tom and Kim on tonight, but more than anything else, the message, the signal not to lose here is back Moose Quest. Take the time to back Moose Quest. Think about what you're going to give people for the holidays. If you've been thinking of something game related that the normies can play, that you can play with all the rest of your family who couldn't give a shit about role playing or miniature gaming or whatnot, Moose Quest is that game. Hands down, it's that game.
Mike, there's a question for you because I never see it from this side.
Oh dear.
Oh.
Is Mike LARPing as a moose now? Oh, that's
no. On Facebook.
Oh, on Facebook. I'm sorry. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
You're not hearing.
I got so many things beeping, and is there a chance?
We have a lot of stuff going on.
I got you. Okay. All right. You guys vamp for me. I'll figure this out. She's got the wrong.
Yeah, I not even get my hopes up. I just think it's all going to be dashed. So anyway, mooses, you should back it. There's lots of mooses in the game. There's a mammoth that thinks it's a moose. There's a saber-toothed tiger. There's peril. There's adventure. There's high adventure. There's love, and all the other things that we'd expect in a Tom Wham game. So I don't know what else to say except why don't we do this? Let's go ahead and talk about some of the Kickstarters.
The link's on the bottom of the screen, folks. It's scrolling. Just go to Tenkars-tavern.game/wham, and don't think of the band from the 80s. This is Tom Wham. Yeah, I know. This is Tom Wham. It's just going to take you to the Kickstarter. It's raised
76. Yeah, 76.
Go back it. Get many copies.
Yeah, I just dropped $30. Yeah, I just did my $30.
So back it. Tom is good people. The Pixie Queen is good people. Sadly, her iPad is not good people.
I don't understand.
I heard the bloop. All right.
Nah.
Don't get your hope up. Don't get your hopes up.
If we can hear you, we'll take it.
So let's go back to talking about.
Can you hear us?
Hark the herald angels sing. Get Kim and Tom again. I got nothing but bubkiss. Nothing. Anyway, so let's talk about Let's talk about the other two Kickstarters. Since they come back, we'll pick them up on the flip side.
All right.
So interestingly, we had two monstrous Kickstarters this week launch. We had the final Sweet Christmas apocalyptic launch of the Western. What is it? The Western Shore? Not Western Shore.
Western Reaches or Western Mar? Oh.
Western Reaches. I'm sorry, Western Reaches.
Western Reaches.
Western Reaches. Yeah.
So we already had the number up earlier. It's $1.3 million, $1.2 million now. It's a stupid amount of money.
Mhm.
Yes, I know it's not a Brandon Sanderson level of Kickstarter. Okay. Hello, Tom and Kim.
My
I see the circle pulsing, and I know that that's just Tom's heartbeat.
That's just that's me. See where that's at right now? That's me pulsing right there.
That's
Jesus.
Tom's magnificence, barely contained in the vessel of a railroad engineer's costume.
Oh, is there? Oh, so we're talking about the Kickstarters, and this is a prime time for Kickstarters because not only do we have that, I believe our buddy Bill Barsh has a Kickstarter also. Greg has something. Greg Chubby Funster, our buddy Greg, has something going on.
But his isn't a Kickstarter. His is direct to drive-through.
His just a release. Yeah, he just released his.
Okay. And interestingly, the two big ones that we were talking about, the Castle Zygig and Shadow Dark. What's interesting is Shadow Dark, the average spend is $194 per backer. With Castle Zygig, it's actually higher. The actual number of backers, they're spending 218 on average right now.
Not cheap. Yeah,
and I'll be interested to see how that plays out, right? I saw a very interesting question today. Somebody said, should I buy the Castle Zygig because it's going to be collectible? And my answer, I replied and said, no. You should buy it because you want to read it and play it. Don't buy it because you think it's going to be valuable.
And don't try to predict collectability. That's a mugs. And Jim knows that we do auctions. We know collectible stuff. That is a mugs game. Don't try to guess.
That's a fool's bet. It's a fool's errand.
It could be in print for the next 25 years for all we know. We have no clue what's going to happen. Now, the original one, is that collectible? Hell yeah, because they destroyed all the copies that were not sold by a certain day. So if yes, the original one will probably always be worth something because it's the original one and it's very limited. But this one, anything that's coming out now on a Kickstarter, I don't look at. Like I said, it may be in print for the next 20 years. We don't. It should be. We probably should want to see it in print for a long time. But don't bet on collectability. It's a tough one. It really is.
I would never say that to anybody.
It's like I had a lot of people in the 90s tell me, man, these foil covers, you gotta get this Spider-Man foil cover stuff. I'm like, I don't know.
They only printed 1 million of them.
Yeah,
I don't know why you think it's collectible.
on this one. Oh, but I have 35 copies in my You still have 35 copies, by the way, because they're not worth anything. So
you should just should use them as coasters.
Buy it because you want to use it and want to play it and think it's cool to support whatever, have a reason to buy it. I remember when I bought Memorial Tomb, I was in it for $100. I figured it was probably never going to come out because it was 7 years, but I thought, well, you know what? It's $100. It was $100. I'm glad to support what Benoit and Ernie were doing. Thank goodness for Chenault and the Trollo Games. And they eventually, I have it. It's an absolutely beautiful set. It's a box set and it's gorgeous. Probably worth the wait. Is it worth the wait? It was probably too long a wait. But I'm glad I got it now. I'm glad I did purchase it. And you'll probably be glad you'll purchase it. I don't know if I'll use Memorial Tomb at this point. But I don't know if I'll use Castles of Gig either. You just buy it, read it. By the way, the original Castles of Gig was written by Jeff Twain and off of Gary's notes. Gary assisted him. And they are going to use a lot of Jeff's material, and from what Jeff has told me, he is going to get credit, which is great. I think that's great. That's something he deserves, and I'm very. Chenault's a good dude. Chenault and the Trolls are good dudes. And
I don't think there's ever been a doubt about how decent they are. Those two guys, the Chenault brothers are paragons in our hobby. They've always been above board. I'll be the first one to say that. We've talked about a lot of shysters on this show. And sorry, something got caught in my throat.
Did a wit? Something.
But the Chenault brothers are two of the very best.
Yeah.
And I don't think this plays a direct part in it, but I think one of the things that you do want to say is the reason that Shadow Dark has had this success, the reason that Castle Zygic has this success, is that Kelsey and the Chenault brothers are exactly that. They're paragons in the hobby. I can't say enough good things about all the. I've heard so many good stories about God, her name escapes me for a split second. Shadow Dark, Kelsey. I just have heard so many amazingly decent stories about Kelsey. And this goes back to last year. You know, we're coming up on the anniversary of me actually buying a copy of Shadow Dark because I bought it at GaryCon last year. And I had heard about Shadow Dark for about 6 months before that. I just kept hearing people and I was like, okay. And I bought a copy at GaryCon last year. And when I came home, it was literally the first book. It was the first thing I bought at GaryCon that I read last year. And I was like, wow, you know, and one of my friends who's a game designer, I thought this was a very interesting and sly observation. He said, there's a lot of people that want to be what Kelsey has been, but very few people have the chops that Kelsey have to deliver and stick the landing.
Because Jim, she's authentic, and that's.
Yes.
I think you can say the same thing about the trolls too. And that my wife and I talk about this a lot because my wife is very fascinated with Kelsey. She's met Kelsey and her wife. She likes them, and she's like, oh yeah, I'm not surprised she's a success. She's so well spoken. But she's like, well, I said, well, her latest Kickstarter, she's already a million. Whatever. She's, well, how's she making so much money? I said, because she's one of the very few things in this hobby that we don't have enough of, and that's somebody who's genuinely excited by our hobby, is a personal person, and they're authentic. They're not fake. And I will tell you, as many times I've met her and talked to her and emailed her, she is not fake. This is her. This absolutely.
So very interestingly, I got an email a couple of days ago that I think ties into this, right? And I got an email from the people that make Vault of the Drow, and it's AAW, I think. And one of the most interesting pieces of this was AAW wanted you to fill out a survey and explain what it is that you wanted to see them do next. And so I looked at the survey, right? And I thought, okay, oh good, we've got duplicates now. We have Tom's doppelganger haunting us again. But AAW wanted you as a customer to tell them what you wanted them to do next. They gave you 5 choices. They said, we'd like to see you. We'd like to know what you want to do. And there's like a sequel to Vault of the Drow. Oh, good. We have a shot of the living room again. This is excellent. So
all right, we're coming back. Yep.
TV. That's a good start. Now, if we can get sound, possibly, or even Tom and Kim on camera. Okay, so now we can see them, but can we hear them?
Well, listen, you're asking for an awful lot right now.
And yet, once again, I will have to do Tom impersonations.
You are skilled at it.
And there I was in the Maharaja's harem. They were fascinated by my western beard and accoutrement. I said to them, have you seen my Belohamus? And they did not know what I meant.
So we still don't have sound?
Yeah, well, we can do this without. Okay, so let's see. What would Peppermint Pixie be saying? She would be saying things like,
you should back the Kickstarter. The Kickstarter's amazing. It's the best form of Moose Quest ever published. You should make sure you get on before it ships. It's going to be great. Give lots of copies to your friends and your family for holidays.
quit giving me the bird.
Wow, okay, that's a middle finger.
Wow, that's just subtle. So if you're tuning in late to the train wreck that is our technical support team, let me back up. But AAW,
that is not a mannequin of Tom Wham. That is actually Tom Wham.
The hand needs to stop.
And Peppermint Pixie is showing us why I keep her around because I have to have somebody more technically incompetent than me. And so,
oh my God,
hey, what do we have here?
Oh, look at that! Look at that! It's the Belotimus of technical shame. Yes. It's the Belotimus of technical prowess.
Maybe Tom could draw a Bolotomus that fixes the
The
sound.
Bolotomus looks like I feel, slightly frayed at the edges and a little nervous. And every time your hand comes near the screen, I'm afraid that we're going to see more things than we want to see. So anyway, AAW wanted to know what I as a customer wanted to see next. And I thought that was terrible. Because really, number one, you should be dialed in to know what your customers want. Number two, like I don't know how many variations of Vault of the Drow they're going to ship. But I looked at this list of 5 projects, and none of them registered with me beyond the sequel to Vault of the Drow. And I was like, I just can't even fill out this survey because you haven't given me anything compelling. There's no blurbs about this is what we should do, this is what we should do. But I think you're right. I think authenticity, sincerity, that's what marks Moose Quest. I think Moose Quest is a great example of a project that has been percolating along. It's been made with love. It's been made with love, and it's made love.
Well, you talk about play testing, games that need to be play tested. This one's been play tested for decades. So I don't. That's always a point in my favor. Is this going to work or not? Because we famously heard stories about releases that no one actually ever played. I created a mega dungeon that nobody was ever actually in the mega dungeon. So I don't know how it plays. I hope it plays well. And
I'd like to welcome you to my Kickstarter dungeon, my mega dungeon that is empty. You'll go for hours without having a single.
50 flashbacks. No, don't do that.
Yeah, the 50 copper, 1,000 copper pieces in the
2,000 coppers.
2,000 copper, and how many giant rats, Eric?
I like that Tom is like all gangster in the back. He looks like he's like, I'm going to derail your caboose.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, just remember, Jim's the one who's doing this, so don't blame Eric and I. We're here to work with you.
I feel like what we should do is we should have Brian blessed lines, and we should have Tom acting them out, right? So we should have Tom saying things like "Gordon's alive," and it would be perfect. It would be just perfect. Yeah, I got nothing, Tom. I'm sorry.
I wish I could read lips because I think.
Oh, I can read his lips, and I don't want to say those things out loud.
Peppermint Pixie, I think she said some things that we would get demonetized for just now.
Tom's just over there like, you kept me up late for this, you sons of bitches.
Yeah, Tom was probably excited to get on our show.
Tom was probably like,
I've heard about that Jim Kitchen. I know that Jim Kitchen guy. I've heard about this Eric and Mike. They're those two good guys, and I can't wait to meet them.
It's always Kitchen's fault, that son of a bitch. I hang my head in shame. Here, once again, I offer up only the Bolotomus of technical support.
Hey, we're getting slammed by Alan Hammock.
Yeah, I'm about to say he's taken up for his.
That's just what we need to hear. Like the other Lothario of TSR. God, that man has left a string of singles and broken hearts at every strip club in Alabama.
Yeah, Alan, I'm going to ask you a question. Where's GDZ right now?
Yeah.
No, we outlasted those punks. Yeah, Skeeter and Zach. Yeah, Skeeter and Zach have nothing on us.
I think COVID killed that one.
Well, they had they're spending all their time doing sound checks. We spend all our time doing research and being creative, and Skeeter and Zach spend all their time doing sound checks with you, Alan. That's why we're here and you're not. So you may think about if you ever want to be on our show, Alan. You might just want to be a little nicer to these guys here that would love to have. By the way, they would love to have Alan on the show. Whatever.
Through the magic of my speakerphone, we're going to try to have sound.
You know what? I was going to suggest that. We can do that.
You guys now.
I can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you.
God.
It's not great, but hey, I'll take it.
This is like crazy. This is absolutely crazy. Let me try. All right.
You've heard of it.
I'll try calling. All right, that's fine. Let me try calling.
No, we can hear you now.
We can hear you fine.
We can hear you fine.
I give up, folks. I tried very hard. I've attempted to solve these problems, and in fact, I feel like I should go commit technical Harry Carey.
Jim, this is why my desk drawer that I'm opening right now, Jim, and I'm pulling out. This is why
I'm going to drink like a fish. Yes, we can hear you the last
always
time.
Close at hand. It's just right here.
We couldn't hear you. That was the problem.
We can hear you. Oh, you can't hear us now.
Can you hear us now?
Yes, we can hear you
we
now.
can hear you.
Sweet
We can hear you
Jesus.
fine.
Sorry.
Tom,
So what
how's
would
it
you like to
going,
add?
bud?
What would you guys like to add to all the praise we've been heaping on you the past?
I haven't said anything yet.
Oh, you've been thinking a lot of things, though. That's the problem.
I did hear a fart sound.
Well, I mean, you're going to hear that a lot on this show.
Mike apologizes.
I'm sorry about that. That's
So
cabbage soup last night.
So Tom, tell us about Moose Quest. What's your favorite thing?
But we actually have a studio audience in our room here. Over here is Donna Gygax, who came to watch the show. It was so exciting.
Donna, we're sorry, Donna.
Donna,
we're so sorry.
Maybe making a Gary Con this year.
Blame Kim, Donna. Blame Kim. Don't blame us.
It was a live comedy. She says it was a live comedy.
It's just the notion. Can you imagine what it must have been like to be in Lake Geneva in the 70s when Tom and Alan were roaming free and single? It must have been apex predators.
Ask Alan about him and Frank being roommates if you want to hear some not ready for prime time stories. We're talking socks on the doorknob, okay? So just letting you know. Yeah, it's bad. So, but I'm sure Tom did not get involved in those kind of shenanigans. This man is an upstanding member of our community, our gaming community. So
what did you ask me before about?
Hell, I don't even remember. Just have Tom talk.
Why don't you guys talk about anything we didn't mention? Look, we've been talking for an hour. You and Tom talk about what you want to talk about because we've been talking about you guys for an hour. So what do you guys want to say about the Moose Quest? About Moose Quest?
I think you've already said everything we had to say.
I'm going to get taken to the woodshed for this.
This is dynamic. This is dynamic.
Melodimus, though.
Oh, do you? Oh, yes. Yes, this is what I have. Jim Ward's 2 mated pair of Bellotomi.
Oh.
So over my shoulders.
Are these the ones he sold at Gen Con?
No. These these are the 2 that he bought for himself, and they were in his office for, based on the smell, the next 30 years. And so I bought one from him, and then he put the other up on eBay, and I won it so that we would have the mated pair.
So,
would you mind if Donna joined us?
Oh, hell no.
Move over.
Squeeze in there, Donna. They're going to make a Tom Wham sandwich.
Come on.
I don't know if I can handle a Tom Wham
come class the place up. Donna's going to come class the place up here. Yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
Look at that.
Donna.
Mr.
Donna,
Lover Man is once more in his element.
Very, very
Well,
good
now
to
I'm
see
happy.
you.
Well, no
Look
shit,
at him.
Tom.
Look where he's sitting. The catbird seat.
Look
right
at me.
there.
I'm surrounded by women. Just another day in the life of Tom Wham. Screw Moose Quest. This whole thing got me in the middle of this sandwich. This is excellent.
This is better than Moose's.
This is right. It's the perfect Tom Wham 3-way. You roll the dice and you just sort of see where it carries you.
Whoa, hey, hiya.
So what would you like us to say?
So,
well, what did we do? Is there anything we didn't bring up? I mean, is there anything you'd like to add?
Oh, no.
Nothing you didn't hear us.
I didn't hear what
we were saying. So
I'm not finished with Search for the Emperor's Treasure. I'm still working on it.
I mean, shit, you got another 10 years of game development cycle there, Tom.
You started 45 years ago. Why would you be through now? I mean,
why would we think it's almost done now? I mean, come on. Ookland you've been working on Ookland since what, 71, 72?
No, I didn't come to TSR till 77. So.
I'm just burnishing the legend.
Have you ever finished a game, Tom? Have you ever sat there and finished a game and said, okay, this is finished. I am never doing any revisions or add-ons. Have you ever done that, Tom?
Well, that's what Dave Conant told me when he was working on this thing. And we're still finishing it.
Because, to publish it, you have to finally finish it and say, okay.
It's ready. It is 100%.
If you get a box in the mail, it will work.
Oh, my God.
I just don't want to know what's in the box, right? That's the problem, is that I just am afraid of random packages from Lake Geneva now.
Oh, it'll be all good. It'll be good.
Hey, Donna.
Nice.
Hey, Donna.
Nice.
It's important that we say this. We're so sorry for your loss. We spoke
Absolutely.
about Ernie last week,
Yep.
and you certainly have a place in all of our hearts.
Absolutely.
We love you dearly, and we know how important you were to Ernie, and we're just so sorry.
Thank you.
It's good to see you on the show. We're
Yes.
really great to
We
have
love
you.
her.
We're
That's right.
gaming at Donna's on Sunday.
Yes, we are gaming
nice.
on Sunday at her place.
Good deal.
Nice.
Dragonland should have a lot of fun and frolic. Not that kind of fun and frolic, Tom.
So everybody here, I guess everybody here is going to Gary.
Continues.
Peppermint Pixie. Everybody here is going to GaryCon, right? That we're seeing right now. You guys, all three of you guys will be there.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I want you to know, I was offered I had an opportunity by Getty called me,
Well,
wanted
he
me to
does
drive
have
him.
several games. He has several games at GaryCon. So if
good.
I don't know if there's any openings at this point, but you can always walk up and see if there's an opening. We'll have information at GaryCon about the Kickstarter. We have a cool little QR code that we have on a card that'll be handing out, so you guys can go to it for that. We're really excited. We really are. This has done really well so far. We're very, very happy. It's the beginning of hopefully a long row of games to come after this. We're trying to decide what we're going to do next.
Search for the Emperor's Treasure.
That's going to be too big.
A few people have, but he
A
has so many
few?
games that.
All of us are mentioning that. I don't.
Well, the only thing is he has so many games, awesome games that we've played. That's actually how I got involved. But he has so many awesome games that have not even been published that, I think that you really want to get out there, don't you?
It would be nice.
Let's put Search for the Emperor's Treasure before Tom Wham's Single Life. I'm just throwing that out there. Let's just rethink our positions on something.
So Kim, I want you to know that Getty called me this week and wanted me to drive him to GaryCon. I had to turn him down though. I just can't take the time off, but I'm going to miss you guys so much. I really, really wanted to come up with him, but I crunched the numbers and the time and I couldn't do it. And Getty was upset. So you're going to have to be extra nice to Guppy because he was all sad that I couldn't drive him up. He's going to have to fly up. So, which honestly,
we're going to miss you.
2 days in the car with me or flying up, or actually 4 days in the car with me or driving up or flying up and flying back. He's probably getting the better end of the deal because I got
Mike's looking forward to missing whatever this year's contagion is at GaryCon.
Yes, because I was sick on the way back and I coughed all over Guppy the first day, and by the second day he was sick too.
You've got the beard, Tom. Just go with the upflow, and then you're there. See, look at that. He's covered. He's like,
yes, you guys everybody stay healthy.
He's like a railroady version of Cousin It. This is excellent. What did he say? He said, "Re-roll again. You're going to be another moose mom." Oh, good.
Take advantage of the detox stations or whatever they have. If they have, bring your bottles of goo to wipe on your hands because that place is a sick farm. Because I think Alan told me he got sick the last 3 years. He's skipping it this year because I don't think he wants to get sick again. He doesn't want to go for 4 years.
I love Donna straining to hold the moose quest up at a height. Like, Donna, you're good.
Yeah,
we've had it on screen for a while.
Yeah,
you can turn it upside down.
Try out for Price is Right. The Price.
Why don't you hide it in Tom's beard and it can peek out like a raccoon? It'll be good, right? That's excellent. That's just perfect.
Wow, it almost covers the entire box. That's great.
That's right. I might have to bring Tom a railroad hat from the Yukon for GaryCon so he could have a new hat. I've got one from the Yukon Railway.
You should tell the story about how Moose Quest happened.
Please tell me you didn't hit a moose.
No. Gene Raby hit a moose.
Oh, okay. We need to hear this story.
Hear the story. Let's hear it, Tom.
Gene Raby, longtime PSR employee.
Head of the RPGA.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And they had this trophy in her office. Actually, Ralph T. Williams worked for her at that time, too. And they had a moose trophy. And we were always, Dave Conant and I were running games at their little mini cons. Spring Revel, Autumn Revel, Summer Revel, that sort of thing. So I finally did a game to go with the trophy. And it was kind of like the Stanley Cup. If you won at the convention, you got to keep the Moose Trophy for a year, and you had to bring it back to the next year. And that's how you won Moose Quest. So, and the trophy. But somehow the trophy disappeared. So, it's like somebody running off with the Stanley Cup and not giving it back, you know.
Well, that's why when you get the Stanley Cup, if you're on the team and if you're on the winning team and you get your day with the cup, that's why the guy comes with the cup to your house. And he's the thing that intervenes to stop you from doing really stupid things. And he's the guy that makes sure it goes in the case and goes back at the end of your day. So we need a moose guy. So
Moose guy.
There you go.
So Tom, you've made all these games over the last 50 years. What's the game that you love the most that you've created, and what's the game where you're just tired of people talking about it?
Moose Quest.
That's the love.
Oh no, that's the one I'm tired of people talking about.
Oh no!
Except I have to talk about it. I'm required by law. And her.
Wait a minute.
It's all you, Kim. It's all you.
Here voluntarily. I did not hold tied you down.
Wait a minute. Let me ask you a question, Tom. Were you
Blink
bribed?
twice, Tom. Blink twice if she's holding you hostage.
Tom, were you bribed with food?
Actually, yes, but then I said I'd buy it. So
wow, it's a date night for Tom.
Hey, I invited Donna to join us too. So,
oh God, I can't handle this kind of call.
So what is your favorite game?
I'm afraid my favorite game is Feudality.
Yeah, we've heard a lot about that over here.
Anymore.
Yes.
Well,
Feudality is a great game. It really is.
Yes, that's what I hear. Kim's told me many times about Feudality. It's very good.
Yes.
When are we seeing Feudality? We need to see Feudality then.
You can still get it on the secondary market. I bought one actually this last year, and we've played it. So you can still get it. It's just not still being published in print, right? But it's actually a great game.
You're absolutely correct. It's recently priced on eBay. So okay.
Mm-hmm.
Very recently. Okay, recently priced. All right.
So Tom, what are you thinking of for your next project for Tom Wham Games?
Well, we were working on one called Greedy Billionaires, but I'm afraid that's a little too scary right now.
That's a little on point for right now. Our political climate probably can't take that. Maybe a little something like a little softer, a little friendlier. Just I don't need real life in my games.
The game was submitted to Rio Grande Games, and Jay turned it down. He said it was too chaotic.
Oh,
well. Has that man ever looked at his own Torg line? Give me a break. God, I don't even know where to start. So Tom, when you were working at TSR and you were making all your little games for Dragon Magazine and SNITS and so on, what's your favorite memory of play testing or playing in the offices? Or playing at the pub or wherever? What do you always think about and remember the most fondly?
Well, I don't know. I had a lot of fun with Ernie. I did a game called Rungus's Game. It was by the god Rungus, the god of the run and get-ems, the things that live inside the Bolotomus.
I am a follower and high priest of Rungus, so yes.
Anyway,
you speak.
You tape the game board onto a coffee can or a salt container, and you drop your little run and get-ems onto the world. And if they land on a score area, you've scored the points. And if they bounce off, of course, they don't score anything. And Ernie and I were playing that one night at my apartment. And Gene Wells snuck up my fire escape trying to get into my apartment. And Ernie warned me, and I escaped before she got there.
Oh, no.
I have questions.
There's so many questions. Oh my God.
Like, was it the hat or the matching overalls? I'm just curious.
I think they were playing a game. They were playing a game of Killer or something. You know.
I feel like the thing you left out of Rungus's game was that it was clothing optional, and I feel like that's just like
Were you playing like some kind of game of tag all through the offices, and you were it? And she was trying
Don't
to
mind my
tag
angry
you?
rungus. Oh my God. This is just getting better and better. And Tom's just poised, right? He's like 50s Hugh Hefner hosting the jazz show on CBS or whatever, right? It's like,
Oh yeah.
hi.
So Kurt
I'm
wants
Tom.
to know, what are the origins of Ironclad?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know this.
Origins of what?
Ironclad.
Ironclad.
Oh, Scrooby Miniatures. You remember? Anybody remember Scrooby Miniatures?
Yes.
He had little ironclads, and I worked for Don Lowry at the time. We were out in Maine, and we needed rules for their ironclads. So we did this Ironclad Civil War game, and it was a lot of fun. We played it at the Down East DuCon. It was Down East War Gamers in Maine, and our convention was at the Belfast Curling Club. Curling clubs are a great place to hold a convention. There was no ice at the time,
but there was beer.
Yes, there was.
Yes, there was. I like that Kurt didn't get the Ironside joke that Alan Hammock just made in the chat. And it was screaming over his head.
It's a generational thing.
Wait, I thought we were talking about Ironclad, not Ironside.
Well, Alan, of course, turned in with an Ironside joke, and it just went off the rails after that. So how did you land at TSR? What made you apply? What made you move to Lake Geneva? What's the story, Morning Glory?
It's all Tim Kask's fault.
Usually
if
is.
you know Mothy Tim. Nobody's ever heard of Mothy Tim, right?
I'm afraid that if I laugh at that joke, he will find me.
He'll hear you. Yeah, he'll hear
Okay.
you laughing.
Well, anyway, we both got out of the Navy about the same time and went to Southern Illinois University. And he was in our game club. And we played all sorts of different games. And one year he came back with this thing called Dungeons and Dragons and started making us play it. And he went on and did something else, and I went on and did something else. And then in 1976, I got a letter from him saying he was working for a game company in Lake Geneva, and they had a job available. So I drove to Tim's house in Delavan, and I was met there by Tim and Brian Bloom, and next day I was employee number 13.
Wow. That's great. And what were you hired as? What was your initial job description?
Well, Ernest G. Gygax Jr. was having to go to summer school. He was ordinarily the person who ran the Dungeon Hobby Shop, but he had to finish summer school that year. So I ran the Dungeon Hobby Shop that first summer. Then when Ernie came back and took over the hobby shop, I went upstairs to the art department and joined Dave Sutherland and Dave Trampier. And it was really fun up there, I'll tell you.
What was the first drawing that you did for TSR?
Probably the Bombardier Beetle in the Monster Manual. It's not a very popular monster because it looks like a big beetle. Or no, maybe it was a rhinoceros beetle. I can't remember.
They wouldn't let you do the vampire or anything. They just stuck you the beetle.
Older anyway, so.
I'm sorry, but your Mind Flare doesn't get enough credit.
That was a cartoon.
Well, I'm sorry. I did not mean to cross the streams, but it's still pretty good. It's still pretty solid. And so what made it fun working up there with Sutherland and everybody else? Was it just a little bit of a looser atmosphere? Was it something where you could spread your wings?
Well, Dave Sutherland would go home. We would stay up. We'd listen to WFMT in Chicago, and they had all-night jazz. And we'd listen to that. And Tramp and I would draw things. and there might have been some strange blue smoke in the air, but I won't mention that.
Stunned I am to hear that there might have been recreational pharmaceuticals at TSR in the 70s.
Never.
Glad Dave Sutherland, he went home. He had a wife. But Tramp and Tom hung out together.
Yeah. And so how many years did you volunteer at the Gen Con auction? I was going to ask you that.
About 40 or 50 years, something like that.
Yeah. And
I missed a few.
yeah, they come and go. And so what did you enjoy the most about the auction? Did you like being an auctioneer? Did you like, just hanging out? What was your
I just thought it was so cool that all these games were finding new homes because,
you can't take them with you.
right. And, you really appreciate somebody who's taken care of a game, and you can see the love that went into it when you open the box and everything's still there. Or if stuff is missing, they've written what's missing and that kind of stuff. I hate to see, although I pirate games, but when I destroy a game, I completely destroy it and put the pieces in separate other boxes so that there's nothing left of the game when you'll see me, except you might recognize the miniatures or the cards or something.
That's true. We have played many games that have been cards pasted in the back of a certain kind of playing card that I won't mention because I'm not sure if I should.
Magic.
And game pieces from other games. And
yes, I just recently glued a new game board onto a game board originally from Red Storm Rising. I ended up with about 20 of those, 24 of them actually.
Oh, wow.
One of the TSR employees gave me several boxes of them because they couldn't sell them anymore. So I used the pieces for this, and I still have a big stack of Red Storm Rising game boards that I use to glue other game boards onto, my own, of course.
Tom, you're a one in a million, and I don't think enough people ever understand that. I'm listening to you talk about what was so great at the auction, and you nailed it in a way that I think most people don't think about. I love the perspective, and I absolutely adore just trying to find games good homes. And I don't think enough people. I think people get hung up on how much money are they going to make, not understanding that sometimes you just want to see something go to a better home than the amount of money you're going to take home for it.
Yes.
So what miniatures game did you like to play the most, or that you missed the most?
I am actually not that into miniatures that much. We used to do a lot of Napoleonics, but and I really enjoyed the chainmail games we used to have in the basement of the Dungeon Hobby Shop back when it was in downtown Lake Geneva. That was when Gary and Ernie were running the games, and we used his big elastilins. They were so nice.
What was your first D&D character? I don't think I've ever heard.
I was a cleric. Nudnik the Fyrd. F-Y-R-D. Fyrd.
Feared. Feared.
Aside from that, that's all I can say.
Another lover, not a fighter.
Our campaign lasted 3 games. That was it.
So what's your best story from TSR that if you tell people they just will struggle to believe it was real?
I think the one about Gene Wells on his
yeah, I mean the one about Gene Wells on your fire escape is going to go on the
web. That's pretty over the top.
Yeah, well,
right.
Unfortunately.
I'm coming for you, Tom. I'm coming for you.
Oh, okay. There's a worse one.
Okay, let's hear it.
It involves Ernie's mother, Mary Gygax. I used to live in downtown Lake Geneva, upstairs on the 2nd floor of what is now the Landmark Center. That's been remodeled. anyway, to get upstairs to my apartment, which I lived with Brian Bloom back then, I would walk to Jane's Bar down the street. It was only a block away. But one night I came back with a little bit too much beer inside me. And I made it into the door and up to the landing. And that apparently is as far as I got, because the next thing I knew, Mary Gygax was standing over me screaming, "Tom Wham, get up." They had called her from somewhere. The police saw me laying there, and wondered what was going on. So that's probably my...
We have a straight Wham down. We have a straight...
It wasn't fun at the time. Let me say this.
But it's the fact that the cops in Lake Geneva knew to call Mary to clean up the shenanigans.
Yeah, call Mary Gygax. She's on speed dial.
Is it another one of those TSR guys? Yeah, call Mary. Okay. And then Mary's got to come over and be like, "Tom Wham, you wake up now. Do you know what you're doing?"
Exactly what she said.
"I can't believe that you're drunk." "I'm not drunk now." "Oh, okay."
Believe me, I was terrified.
Oh.
Did you hear that? He said he was terrified.
Oh no, we heard him.
So Tom, what was your usual day like at TSR? I mean, obviously you're doing a lot of work on games and you had art. What was your usual day like? You'd show up for work, and then what would happen?
Well, at first I would, I used to live across town, and I'd walk to work because there was a railroad track. There used to be a railroad train that ran to Lake Geneva, and I would walk to work along the railroad tracks, and then, work at the Dungeon Hobby Shop or work upstairs in the art department doing drawings. And then later on, I sort of got promoted, and they gave me an office at the Hotel Claire, and then I'd just work on my games in my office, and my paycheck came out of advanced royalties. So, needless to say, I was saved by the fact that the shares of stock that I got when I became an employee were actually worth something when I sold them. And mostly they ended up paying my royalties for paying for my employment, as it were. Anyway, it all worked out.
So when you look back at almost 50 years of doing this, what's your best fan appreciation story? What's something that came out of the blue or surprised you, or was it a Whamathon? Like, what do you got? What's the kind of thing that you think about where you're like, okay, I did some good in this world because of X?
Well, I don't know about any good, but I just remember that working at TSR in the glory days, and I would say the glory days were from like 1976, 77. I didn't come till 77, till about the early 80s. And then they got so rich, it became much more business-like. But in the early days, it was fun to work there because we got paid to play games. And we spent a lot of time playing games. And, we had to go up to Brian's office and play games with him. Darn, I had to go to Gary's office and play games with him. I'd go into Mike Carr's office and play games with him. Like it was really terrible getting paid to do that. Oh, it's like a gamer's dream. So, and possibly one of the greatest things occurred, actually I think it was right before we moved into the big building. Jeff Perrin was running this huge Napoleonic campaign, and each of there were only about 20 or 30 of us playing at the time, but I was the Papal States, of course, and Gary Gygax was France, and I think Mike Carr was England. And we painted up our own miniatures and made our armies. And then whenever we had some sort of conflict, I don't know, I remember exactly how it worked, we would resolve them on big tabletop battles on the giant sand table, which also had a wooden lid so we could play miniatures on top of it. And I just remember I almost defeated Napoleon in the battle for Rome, but I lost by a die roll. To Gary.
To Gary?
Yes. Napoleon won. The Papal States lost. Wait, I wasn't the Papal. We were fighting for the Papal States. I was the Kingdom of Two Sicilies.
I was wondering, Tom,
I had a navy with 2 battleships.
Tom, when you look back over the last 50 odd years, what do you hope people walk away from your games? What do you hope people walk away from your games with? I said earlier that your games have just a wonderful whimsy to them, but at the same time, they're so well thought out. They're so, again, this might be because of the 30-year development cycle, but you've tackled all these different ways that can, there's more than one way to win a Tom Wham game. And so when people play your games for the first time, I watched this with my nieces and Moose Quest, and they got it and they loved it. And what do you hope people walk away with when they've played one of your games for the first time?
Oh, I don't hope anything. I just hope they liked it and would like to come back and play it again. I play a game to have fun. So if you're not having any fun, you shouldn't be playing the game.
I can't follow that with anything. That's
True.
Absolutely spot on. And yet there are countless OSR games that people keep trying to sell me, and Tom, I can't thank you enough for taking the time out. I'm sorry tonight was marred by miscellaneous circumstance. But
I kind of enjoyed the silent movie portion of the program.
That's right. Have you looked out the window to make sure that Gene Wells is not trying to crawl onto the porch?
Only her ghost would come get me now.
Well, you don't want to know what a poltergeist can get up to. That's the problem. Tom, I'm so happy to see Moose Quest funded on the first day. I'm so happy you're here. I've told you this before, but really and truly, that summer that I got Awful Green Things changed my life in such a good way, in so many ways. And you're one of my favorite old guard. You and Alan and Tim. Tim would probably punch me for saying that, but you guys really created magic, and I'm so happy that you're with us and willing to share some of this stuff. Like, I'll never be able to look at that block in downtown Lake Geneva without thinking about Mary Gygax having to wake you up. We should put a plaque there, frankly.
Yeah, there should be a historical marker there. I was going to say we need to have a marker there. Tom Wham
in
passed out
1978,
here. Yes.
Mary Gygax rousted and sleeping Tom Wham.
That's probably about the right year, too.
Perfect.
So, Tom, here's a train question. Did you go see the Union Pacific Big Boy when they finally rolled it out to tour the U.S. after the refurb?
No, I've managed only to see it on the internet.
I saw the Challenger when it came through St. Paul back in the day. I dragged my poor suffering child to go see it, and I can just remember my son going, "Nothing that big should be that fast with steam." And I was like, "Well, it's oil, but I won't tell him." But Tom,
Oil's just not the same.
It's not. It's just not. Tom, you're such a great guy. I thank you so much for coming out tonight and putting up with our shenanigans and bullshit. You're a one in a million. You really are, and you're the soul of everything that makes a great Kickstarter and makes for a successful game. And I think what we were talking about authenticity earlier with the Chenault brothers and Kelsey Dion, you're the root spring of that kind of decency.
You can stop talking now, and you can actually say goodbye. And I'll say thank you for having us. Because I dragged Donna here under false pretenses. I thought this was going to be a little short thing, We spent an hour and a half getting connected.
Blame the woman on your left, Tom, for that.
We all do.
No, we're going to blame Apple Computer and.
Oh, I'm sure you're going to be playing some kind of game. I just don't think we should have the video on for it.
Okay. Thanks for having us.
I did a spit take into my hand.
Yes, great to get you guys on. Really great to see you.
I don't think there's any more to say. Thanks for coming out, Tom, and Pixie, and Donna, and all the rest of the shenanigans.
Thanks a lot, guys. We really appreciate it.
All right.
Well,
night.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Yeah, she's never going to live that one down.
Oh, no, she won't, because we'll remind her about this for the rest of eternity.
Peppermint Pixie's never going to live this one down.
Okay, 10 minutes to go, I think.
Sip of iced tea when Tom said that, and I had to spit into my hand. It's all. Come
on, it's hard for me not to fanboy. It's so hard for me not to fanboy in such a big way because I've mentioned this. Well, I don't think I've ever mentioned it on the show, right? But I spent a big chunk of 7th and 8th grade in and out of doctors' offices. A lot of time by myself, and I spent a lot of time with Awful Green Things and The Emperor's Treasure, and those games got me through some hard times, and they're a direct reflection of everything that Tom is. I mean, he is a lover, not a fighter, but he's also a hell of a game designer, and he's just a decent guy.
Yeah, once again, a living legend. Once again, as we always tell you, one of those guys that if you see him, you need to go tell him hi, shake his hand, and say, "Hey, I really appreciate what you did," because he is one of the last living links we have back to the original days. Guys like him and Tim Kask, and unfortunately, we lost Ernie last couple of weeks, but they're fewer and fewer, and we need to show our appreciation.
And they play every Friday at Culver's in Lake Geneva. Every Friday they show up at 11 o'clock and they play games for 4 or 5 hours. And it's an open table. There's no restrictions. Just come by and roll some dice and have a good time. And shit, an hour and a half worth of technical problems was worth it just to hear the Mary Gygax story. Holy crap. That's legendary.
I still want to know. I'm sorry. I still want to know why Gene Wells was crawling up.
I was letting that one go, right?
State.
Because there's very clearly a Tom Wham Bachelor era.
Yeah, that might be something to ask him in person in the corner of the bar, 11 o'clock or so at night. No recording devices, and find out exactly what happened here. We need a little context and background here. Maybe he could give you a few more details.
I don't think we need those details.
It's good to see Donna there too. I'm glad Donna looks great. I'm glad to see her. That's awesome. I'm glad she could show up. And we give the Peppermint Pixie a hard time, but look, we got a good hour out of it. It's great. We got more comedy than we could have ever imagined.
People will watch this episode for the train wreck that it was.
Yes, this will go down. We're going to send this in for our Annie Award. This is the episode.
This is the Annie winning one. Yep.
Yeah, our Annie winning.
It's not going to be the one where I made somebody cry.
Our YouTube stream.
Hope there's not a plan.
They're watching it going, this is not professional. Why did they send this one in? This is horrible. This is terrible.
God, we haven't even talked about Watsy.
And they bashed Watsy. We can't do this. Anyway, so Moose Quest up there, it's funded, and as you saw, proof of concept. It's ready to roll. I just backed it. I think we've all backed it. Go ahead and get yourself a copy of that and support one of the last living legends in our hobby. So
that's right. And as much as we busted the Pixies' chops, if it wasn't for the Pixie, there would be no Kickstarter.
Right.
I think that's an important point to really point out, is that Tom Wham Games had sort of stalled and they were at a level and they were doing okay, but it's Peppermint Pixie, it's Kim that really sort of got this to the next level, and that's good on her. I think I'm glad to see Moose Quest get to a bigger audience. Is it the next Monopoly? Well, no. But it is a game by somebody we all love. And again, giving 6 copies of this game out to your family for the holidays this coming year, you could do a hell of a lot worse. And really and truly look at Tom and understand that the money raised in this is going to one of the most decent people back to the very deepest roots of our hobby.
Yep.
I got nothing. That's
no, it. I think we've reached our natural conclusion.
Next week, we're going to be talking to Bill Barsh about his Kickstarter. That's another Kickstarter. They funded. He still has another about week and a half to go. So we're going to talk to Bill about his Kickstarter. We're going to have a lot of Kickstarters.
It's the season.
Weeks.
Tis the season.
Yes, tis the season of Kickstarter stuff.
And look, this is nothing against Castles of Gig or Shadow Dark. We are overjoyed that these non-WotC, non-5e Kickstarters raise us money, but guys, you got to support the small guys too. And look, they funded. We got $1.3 million on Shadow Dark. We got 300,000 Gig. Let's help out the little guys too. The guys that are doing 7, 8, 10,000.
Moose Quest, they did 30 of a collector's package where you get an original Tom Wham original piece of art with your game. And because it sold out instantly, they're doing another 30 that drop Friday at noon. And so if you haven't backed it or you backed it and you couldn't get the collector's package, at high noon on Friday, it's a 30-way shootout to see who gets the next, the last 30 collector's editions. So be ready, folks, because so many people asked for it. Tom literally slaved over creating all the little pieces of art.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool. They sent out an update about it today, and I think that's again another responsive Kickstarter. I'm happy to see that versus the ones that never send you anything.
There you go. Well, you don't like 17 updates? Oh, it's like you realize you backed that many projects from one fucking company.
I just delete them now when I see those. I just delete because
get thee away from me, ogre Kickstarter emails.
Oh, it's over. It's done with. Ogre, it's over. All right, folks. Well, by the way, folks, there's no daytime live streams this week. My schedule literally went to shit, and I'm doing. I am out of the house. Doctor's appointments, vet appointments, other appointments. So we will come back to having the weekday lives on next week. Other than that, you all, thank you for putting up with the shenanigans.
Yes,
I don't think I've laughed this hard on a live stream, inside and outside. I had to turn off the camera once or twice. God help us. This was a lot of fun.
Who's that knocking at the door? Gene Wells is on my fire escape.
All right, folks. Be safe, be roll this dice, rolling well. Another live stream, I think, tomorrow night with Tom, Don, and myself. And I'll catch you on the flip side.
Next week's GaryCon. Next week's Wednesday night GaryCon.
Next week. Jim will be there. Jim's going to be there, so maybe we'll have some live.
I'll be coated in antiviral gel.
Oh God, please, Jim. Yes.
It'll be like that Star Trek show Enterprise where they came back and had to put the goop all over them.
You'll be like the boy in a plastic bubble. That's dating myself.
That's right. I'll be John Travolta.
Space. You can wear a space suit, walk through the hall.
Nice.
All right, folks.
Don't get sick, Jim. No, we don't want you to get sick. That would suck.
No, mental illness is a